Welcome back, everyone, to Court of Swords. We're going into the second part. You got a roll to make, Mr. Dan.
Yes,
So,
please.
some shit's going down.
I'll use my inspiration on this roll.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
And 15.
15, eh? Shucks. So, Ramus.
I don't know if that's
When he says
shucks.
shucks, it means you're fine.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't
So,
know.
Ramus, you immediately, without any need for communication or knowledge, it's like, it feels like love at first sight. You turn and you
God.
look into the beautiful amber eyes of this lovely fish lady. You see her alluring trout-like figure and are just filled with the light of love to a degree you have not felt since perhaps the last time you looked into a mirror. And immediately you know instinctively and truly that Berg is the only thing standing in the way of you and this beautiful creature being together. Berg is the only obstacle. And not only that,
God.
your new beloved would be so pleased if you would just like pummel Berg to death with your bare fists, like right now. It would make her so happy. So
Berg ain't doing
do-
shit.
Please go ahead and do that for me, Ramus. Like, that's all she wants. Like, she's just like, she would love you forever if you would just like punch and kick him until he dies.
She's
what do you
mine,
think?
Birdie. She's mine. You back off. This is my woman.
What?
Don't you want me? She's mine. You can't have her, Berg. You're trying to always take my friends. I love her.
Okay. I don't want
Stop
her.
it. Start punching at your side. You go away. She's mine.
Berg's
So
like,
what
just
does
like,
it look like? Yeah. So what does it look like? Is this Ramus like trying? Like, are you making attacks? Or are you just kind of like flailing at him to make him go
Ramus
away?
isn't very strong, and Berg's
No,
like a brick
totally.
house. So I'm like wailing like slapping at him like.
Whatever your feelings about Berg prior to this moment, right, and his physical imposition, you find yourself unafraid. That you are filled with such inspiration and power that you know that with the backing of true love's might, you could take him. He's not so tough. He's not as tough as he usually looks.
All right,
you
you
wanna
little
impress
pussy.
your-
Come
you wanna
here,
impress the lady.
pussy. Like, I put in my foot. Let's duke it out. Okay, we're fighting for her love. Okay, you're not gonna come here. Come at me.
Ramus, I don't want to fight you.
I
Something's
swing,
happened to you.
swing at you.
Berg's just like,
Hey, Ramus, make an attack roll.
Okay,
Just a flat D20 plus your strength, right? Because it's...
Yes. So flat
Yes.
D20.
Yeah.
Oh God, uppercut.
Nine.
Okay, so you fail. What does it look like?
I swing right at him and just fall on the floor like this right beside him.
I want to say like as he like goes and like I just go like.
Yeah, you just step out of the way. He tumbles to the floor. Okay. I mean, it's evident to you, Berg, that he's just going to get up and keep trying to punch you.
Yeah, I think before he gets up, Berg like tries to like pin him down. Like, you want me to roll for something like that?
Yeah, make an athletics check.
Okay.
Oh my god. He's like little Mac from Punch Out.
Oh,
Not a
9.
very good roll.
Oh, okay. So, Ramus, can you oppose with athletics or acrobatics?
Okay.
Oh.
Haha.
7.
Okay. So, even
Who's
with a
the
9.
pussy now?
So, what does that look like, Berg? You're able to restrain Ramus.
Yeah, I would imagine Ramus is like freaking out or whatever, but
Mhm.
Berg's like just like yelling at him like,
Something is wrong, Ramus.
Zardis!
being-
Zardis! This man is trying to hurt my woman! Zardis!
all right, Berg just like is gonna just like open palm try to slap the shit out of him.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can make an attack roll while you have him like pinned.
You know, what is it? I haven't even
So
done
it's,
like an unarmed
your
attack or
strength-
whatever.
Your strength plus your proficiency bonus, because everybody's proficient with
Oh,
just like hitting
right.
somebody.
Okay.
So what's your strength bonus?
Strength bonus is 4 and proficiency
4,
is
and
3.
then, yeah, so just roll a d20 plus 7.
Gotcha. Let's-
Everyone's so
You
mad.
miss. So the two of you are just like having just the worst time, like slapping and grunting and just punching, and like no one's really getting hurt. You're kind of just wrestling around on the floor, and I think Kalimat and Sally was your plan to go back to them and
Well,
find them?
I think maybe there's like a flashback or a scene swap to us, and it's like
Mhm.
my eyes are really wide after he's just informed me that he left the two of them alone in the seclusium. And the first words out of my mouth are, Zaridas, are you looking after them? And I just kind of wait to see what happens.
Yeah, you don't hear any response.
I look over at Kalimat. He doesn't answer to me. I'm not his master, but it was worth a try. I go and like grab my bag. We must hurry. I'm out the door before you can even like do anything.
Yeah. Make a hustle to get over there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I think the two of you walk in on. It's easy to hear them because of Ramus's shrill like shouting about like get away from my woman, and Berg's occasional grunts trying to keep this slippery weasel under control. You hear them coming from the hallway. Sully, are you with Kalimat, or did you get sidetracked by like the giant winged creature or all of the other stuff in the hall? Because I feel like this might just be Kalimat walking in on this scene.
I think it was the situation of I would walk up to something and my pace would slow and I would kind of just start to stare at it, and then Kalimat's hand would come from off camera and just pull me down. And it was 4 to 5 stops of those until I was finally like, right, we need to go see our friends.
So the two of you walk in on this scene. Ramus and Berg, describe what your friends see when they walk into the room.
I think Ramus is belly on the floor with Bert on top, just trying to hit him from behind, which is not working very well.
Yep.
Just yelling about how he's taking her and she loves him first and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Berg's
And it's
just,
that
like,
awkward
using his weight on top. Just-
And we've seen we've seen these two get into lots of like heroic looking fights, but this is just messy. Like Ramus is like tunic is like pulled up over his head part way, and like his pants are falling down, and like Berg is all sweaty because it's all hot in here. And that's what you walk in on, Kalimat.
Okay.
You also see this huge green sort of sphere set into the back wall, and the strange but beautiful shape of this creature. And she's just got her hands pressed up against the glass and just grinning. And she's like sharp teeth, and she's just grinning at the fight.
Can I immediately make an Arcana check just to know if the lore that I want to purposefully have occur here is real or
Yes.
not?
Yeah, it's totally. Yeah.
Okay. 17. Do I know what it is?
Yeah. I mean, she's
It's a siren.
some kind of siren or
Okay.
something like that.
Being that I'm fucking from under the sea, we deal with these assholes all the goddamn
Yeah.
time. That's-
They don't normally bother you, but
Yeah.
they're a big problem for like ship traffic and yeah.
Right.
And I stop as he's kind of looking at the situation. I stop at the door and I look and see what the fucking situation is. And
The rug is all
I-
like
I,
jammed up under them. It's a mess. It's like walking in.
Berg's like,
I kind of just say into the fray. Are we interrupting something? Should we come back later?
I throw you aside. Kalimat, this is serious. Do not look at whatever is in that. And I point to it, but I'm not looking at it and I'm not identifying it.
Romance is very serious to me. I take it very seriously.
He is charmed, Kalimat. We must pull him away from this
Something
room.
is wrong with him. Fix him, Sally.
Berg, can you muscle him out of here? It's much easier.
Probably, yeah.
We need
Stop it! Ramus, stop!
No, you're not gonna take me away from her. She's my only love.
We're not taking you away from her, Ramus. I'm looking like as you would talk to a kid on their level. We're just... She's not going anywhere. We have to relocate you. She told us this. She wants it to happen.
She wants it?
Yes. She told me just now. Please take Ramus out of here.
I would do anything for her. She's the one thing I care about in this world.
He's too handsome. We can't have him in the same room for too long. All right.
I didn't know love until now.
And I look at Berg and I go, quick, we need to move him.
Berg's just like yeah, Berg grabs him, you know, and it's like,
Come on. We need to take you away. Make you look good.
Right, you gotta get put on the powdered weed.
I am a mess. I am a mess. I do need to look good for her.
Yeah, so you take Ramus out of the room.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Does everybody go, or is it just Berg drags Ramus out?
I stay behind, and once they leave the room, without turning around I have my back towards it, and I say,
Kalimat, are you staying in the room too with Sully?
Yes, I am. I am staying in the room. I've got my hand like going towards my crossbow. And
I was wondering what the noun at the end of that sentence was going to be.
Yeah. Towards this drawstring on my pants, and I think
slowly moving my hand towards my.
You just slowly start fucking playing with it. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
No, and I have my hand on my crossbow, and I look at Solly, and I say, it doesn't appear that this creature could breathe air. Do you think if we threatened it?
No.
With...
There's no need to fight this creature. I'll simply have a conversation with it.
So the two of you have your back to the tank, and you can just hear this like hollow, like...
Yes, we know we know you exist, but I'm not turning to you. I know your kind. It's probably like the most serious and stern you've ever seen me, Cully.
Yeah, and we're seeing this shot just like we saw Berg and Ramus with her in the background. She's out of focus, and we can see her like tapping on the glass and then swimming off to one side to try to get your attention, and then like swimming to the other side and like looking at you, like trying to get into your field of vision.
Yeah, and I turn to Kalimat and I say, Kalimat, do not look at the creature. I promise you, you will end up like Ramus.
Yeah, we see her fold her arms over her chest and like pout.
Well, you know best as always.
I
was thinking of how I could help.
No.
But I mean, how can we snap him of this spell?
I walk backwards towards the tank to not, of course, make eye contact with it. And I very loudly and sternly say, let my friend go. There's no need for this. You can't do anything with them.
I don't think... I guess, yeah, she can communicate telepathically. So you hear a like a beautiful voice in your head, like it's like music. And she says, I didn't want to do anything with him. I just wanted to see the two of them fight.
Well, you've seen that now.
You look interesting. Do you think you could beat your friend there if you had to? What if you had a knife?
In Aquan, I say whatever the racial slur is for sirens.
Right. And
I call her a snake. I'll call her a snake.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. She like bangs on the glass with one fist and she's like, damnable turtles. And then you hear, Kalimat, you hear in your head the same voice. And you hear, handsome. Handsome. Don't you want to turn and look at me? I'm very beautiful.
I'm sorry, I don't think my equipment would work with you. Anyway.
Do not listen to her, Callie. She's trying to get in your head.
Oh, there's no harm in listening to what she has to say, is there?
With this one, there is.
So she says to you, but I'm so lonely. I haven't had visitors in such a long time. And
Well,
now
I'll
that
be sure.
2 of your friends are out of the picture, send that nasty turtle away and stay with me a while.
You heard her, Sully. Get out of here.
I look at him once again,
And I laugh.
even more. Yeah, there's a moment where I'm just like, oh fuck, he's been charmed. And then you start laughing and a sigh.
Yeah, yeah. And I look at Sully and I kind of wink, like, "Don't worry, my dear. I'll find some lovely lobsters and crabs to keep you company out there somewhere. I'll have our host whip some up for you. You can have fun with them, I'm sure. Sully, shall we?"
We see her scowl, and she says to you as you like walk out of the room, she's like, only thing around here with crabs is you, filthy dragon. Hate this place. And she like bangs on the glass again and like swims to the back of the tank.
Okay.
And then I kind of just aside to Sully, if she only knew.
And so when you get back to your friends, Berg, once you have Ramus out of the room, Ramus, your ardor has begun to fade. You're not as like aggressively like you can feel. You're like the feelings of your crush on her are swiftly disappearing out of her presence. And now instead you can feel the places where Berg bruised you, manhandling you, on the floor in the other room.
Berg, you hurt me. But she hurt me even more here. My heart. I miss her.
Berg like winds up for another slap.
And I think before you slap him, I walk in the room and slap him first. Let's say, why did you get so close to that tank?
Didn't know what was in there. I didn't know that love itself was inside.
This is a wizard's domain. Everything in here can harm you in some way. Be very careful.
Can I just go say goodbye?
I won't allow it.
No. He called
Okay.
me a pussy.
Well, that's between the two of you. I walked off. What room are we in now? What is in this room?
So when you take your attention off of your friends, you're in the central room with the like crucified, like bull-headed creature. This deep red skin, wands of platinum, like this creature, and it's like kneeling with its hands across its chest, sort of pinned by the things, and just sort of staring. But like I was saying to Ramus, you can just barely, if you watch it, you can barely make out its like chest rising and falling slightly.
Can I Arcana check it?
Hell yeah, you can.
10.
Ooh, nope. It's a great and terrible creature, but hard to say its origins.
I'll perception check to see if I think it's alive. 15.
Mm-hmm.
I see its chest moving.
I mean, it's either alive or faking breathing. But it's moving slightly.
I look at it and outwardly say, "Are you in pain?"
It doesn't seem capable of responding or chooses not to.
I turn around and say, "This Utrix keeps many pets. This place is disgusting."
Let's hope we
Seems to
don't
like
become
collecting.
one of them.
He does like collecting. This is not right. These are all held captive. They did not choose to be here.
Ramus, what did you say?
I said he seems to like collecting things, including creatures.
My eyes widen again. I turn to Berg. I hope that's not why you're here.
I will die before I become a pet.
Well, we all will. That's certain.
You promise, all of you, you will kill me before he takes me.
I will kill you if you go near her again.
I turn to Ram. I just kind of like side-eye Ramus. Berg, how do you suppose we go killing you? You're very hard to kill.
Find out how.
Well, If there's anything to be said, I'm sure he can be reasoned with, but it's best to make Kalimat
makes
have
me
that
think
conversation. What was that?
We were thinking of her as evil and him as good, but it's becoming a little more gray now. He has his own demons. Quite literally. Pointing at the thing in front of me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, ominously, the thing just like slowly breathing behind you.
I turn to Kalimat and say, Can we go see the source of the lamp?
Yes, of course.
Where is it in relationship to where we're at, Adam?
Based on your calculations, you think back to this like highly complicated, take up the whole wall chalk drawing. The source of the heat, the fire, is somewhere below the seclusium, and I think if you just took some time wandering, you could find your way down there.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to go down and past several things that may or may not affect us. I just want that to be known. It could be dangerous. And if my theory is correct, we're going to see an elemental. And I say that with like a lot of weight to it. But if you wish to go, we can.
That's fine. We can go. If you want to look at your little light, if you want.
I'm with you, as always.
Berg, will you keep your hands to yourself?
I'm not the one you have to worry about.
He's
Looks
right.
at Ramus.
Yes, but
As long as he stays away from her, we're fine. We're cool.
we'll go the opposite way. We won't even go near her.
She doesn't even love you, Ramus.
Now that just hurts.
That's when I start walking. That's a signal.
Yeah, as you leave, cut back to the fish girl, like filing her nails, just like, fuck you guys anyway.
Yeah, as we're walking the opposite direction, you just see her giving us the finger.
Fucking jerks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think you need to make a roll or anything. It just takes some time for you to find your way out of the seclusium proper into the sort of the complicated warren of tunnels that make up the cellars and pantries of the room. So by contrast, you have the wide open, spacious hallways of the upper seclusia. But underneath this, there are narrow walkways, broad stairs, and a network of tunnels below. And as you follow Sullyhafa, who occasionally, will stop to kind of Gandalf his way through a hallway. Maybe you have magical instruments that you like hold and like a chain with an iron ball in the end, and you see which way it hangs. Eventually, you find your way to a tunnel below the seclusium some hours later. And I think that it's become like warmer as you've descended, which I think, Sully, you're using as a good indicator that you're almost where you need to be.
Right.
And you're almost certain, you're like, okay, it's just beyond this hallway. And and I think that that if you you're before a door. There's a metal door, unadorned, but in your way, and you're pretty sure, like, on the other side of this door is the source of flame.
Is there any arcane sigils or anything on the door? Perhaps keeping it inside? Can I perception?
No, I don't think so. But make a what's everybody's passive perception?
Mine's 12. I think
Mine's
Kali.
17.
Yeah, Kali and
Oh,
Ramus
shit.
might have a lot.
10.
Okay. And what's yours, Kalima?
It's down below.
What do you mean by passive?
Under skills.
Oh, it's under your skills. It'll list like your perception. If you're not actively like searching. Let me take a look.
Because I have a +4 to perception.
It's listed under your charisma, under your skill list as passive wisdom perception. Yours is 14. But it's if you follow your stats.
Oh shit, it's right there. Oh, it has its own thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it's its own thing.
Yeah, it's its own like thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So the two of you, Ramus and Calamite, you've been slowly picking up on this as you've gotten closer. But right before you get to this door, you can hear very faintly this like thump 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 thump. This like kind of like deep bass kind of like noise, like a rushing sound. But I don't think the others like they haven't noticed it, or if they have, they haven't said anything. But the two of you definitely like almost feel it in your bones more than you hear it, which I guess is what you do to hear things. But you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like reminiscent of like a heartbeat kind of?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I put my hand on the door, and if no one's gonna say or stop me or do anything, I will open it or turnkey or however the door opens.
Yeah, you can just push it.
What are we gonna find here exactly, Calamite? I mean, Sally Fossa.
I lean back from the door and turn. Elemental of something, I'm not sure, but...
Is it safe?
Safe enough.
What's so important about finding this light?
Well, my understanding is it's probably the most powerful thing here besides Uthrix. I wish to know how it got here.
Okay.
All right. It's that important to you.
He said, look around.
That is true. It's not like he didn't want us to find this. And I open the door with my butt, basically, and back into the room.
Okay. So the chamber that you walk into is cavernous and wide. It's I think several hundred feet from where you are to the next wall, but all around illuminated with a bright, like orange and red glow. There seem to be 4 large circular or semicircular holes around the outside of this kind of upside down teardrop shaped cavern, and from them streams of molten metal or rock are pouring down into a chamber below. So there's like magma or lava just kind of like gushing from them down into a central chamber below. The cavern is empty except for a flat piece of rock. Like imagine you took like a meteor and cut it in half and then threw away the top. So there's this like flat top to it and then a rocky bottom, and it's just hanging in the middle of the chamber. It's maybe like, I don't know, 100 feet across. And then there are gold chains the size of like Berg's entire body to a link. Gold chains holding this floating piece of rock in the middle. In the center of the rock, you can see an anvil made out of some dark metal, and there's a creature standing before the anvil, and she's just like banging away at something. She's working on something on this anvil. We can see her as we get a close up. You guys are still quite far away, but you can see her, and she seems to be made out of ruby. So she's semi-transparent, sort of faceted, broad-hipped, not very tall. She's like 5 feet tall, maybe. Yeah, broad hip, broad shoulder, big, strong, like arm muscles. Her body is shaped such that she looks like she's wearing like a simple tunic and trousers, but no shoes or gloves. But it's made out of the same material as her body, and she has a head of like ruby like dreadlocks, but they're all tied up in a knot behind her. Her eyes seem to be made out of like molten gold, and she's just humming to herself while she works on whatever she's making on the forge. And when you open the door, she looks up for a second without breaking. She's hitting the anvil at the same pace as the like throbbing sound that seems to be coming from everywhere. She just looks up for a second and then goes back to what she's working on.
Does she look like she's chained up?
Nope. You don't see any binds on her.
How big is this room? You described a lot there in terms of
several hundred feet across.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Little 50-foot or 100-foot platform, and then about 50 feet of empty space on either side. So it takes up the majority of the center.
So it's a shout to talk to her, basically, because we can't get close.
So you can walk. You can walk along the chains. Like the
I'm not
room
fucking doing that shit.
the room. If I draw, I'll draw. I'll do it. It's Adam shitty artist time.
Okay.
The chamber, if you were looking at it sideways, is shaped kind of like this.
Okay.
And then there's a floaty. This is gonna look like a smiling ghost. There's a floaty like island, and then there's chains.
And she's on the
that,
island. Okay.
Connect it to the walls, and then yeah, she's right here. And so you guys have just come in. There's little like platforms on either side, and you've just come in like over here.
Are the chains swaying, or do they seem really sturdy?
They're tight. They're like pulled taut.
Okay. In almost a hushed tone, although I'm sure this thing can hear us, I turn and say, "I'm going closer. If you wish to follow, feel free. If not, I'll be back."
Well, who else is going to pull you out of the fire if you get in trouble? I'll go with you.
Brave to the last moment. I start walking down the chimney, trying to get closer into the center of the aisle.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna walk across. I mean they're big.
Question.
It's like a bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. My question is like, do these chains look like that's what they're there for? To walk across and
I mean no, because they'd be a
Yeah,
bridge, and they'd be a
Right.
bridge, not a chain. But they're not like swinging. So
oh, okay. Well, then I kind of put my hand on Sully's shoulder and say, don't you think that if we were meant to traverse the gap, there would be an easier means, a more well-trod means, perhaps a bridge or something of the like?
I turn and say,
What I'm saying is, I've seen two very strange things happen, unfortunately, to the same person. But this is a far cry from where we started. So I can only imagine that the danger gets more severe as we go on. So I will follow you, my friend, but consider what I've said.
I nod and say, "She won't harm us, I don't believe. If she does, how many can say they've been in this room?" And I turn and smile so he can't see it. I keep walking across.
okay. All right. Is everybody gonna go across?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's so much hesitation. I love it.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't want to be alone over here, so I'll go across.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets a little hotter.
Everybody make a dexterity save for me.
Oh boy.
Sure.
I will go last.
What do you think that helps you?
No, it just sets a tone to see who else has fallen. Go
25,
ahead.
nice.
I'm falling.
7.
Shit, I should have used inspiration.
I have inspiration. I will probably use it.
I should have used inspiration.
Sully, do you want to? Now remember, Berg. I actually think
Danger Sense plays here.
Danger
I do
Sense
think
has
danger. I do think you get to Danger Sense.
Danger Sense, motherfucker!
Yeah.
Hold on, let me make that a little more special. Danger Sense! Woo! Okay.
Available now at roleplaystore.com. That's not the link. I don't know what the link is. Look and check.
Everything's Danger Sense.
I am using inspiration on my deck save.
Okay.
Didn't matter.
All right. Everyone makes it across the golden chain bridge. Who leads the way? Is it Sully Hoffa? It sounds like it's Sully.
I'm first one across. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as you come up, you see that she's taking what looks like a long knife that she's been hammering, and she dips it into a pool of dark water. She's got in this stone. Steam pours off of it, and she sets it down on a stone table nearby. And she looks up, looks at the group of you as you come across, and she smiles, and she says, I guess she speaks common. She says, "Hello, boys."
May we have an audience?
She laughs. Says, "An audience. If you want to have a conversation, certainly.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
about done for now."
Did not mean to make it so formal, but it's not so often that we do meet a creature such as yourself.
Oh, a creature. That sounds awful.
It does. I
Does it sound like a
apologize.
wyvern or something.
As Sally says that, Berg like went like reach.
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah.
I apologize for my friend's ineloquence. What he meant by that was, you have a beauty that we have never beheld.
And
What do
she
you-
looks at you while you're talking, like makes eye contact. Her golden. I mean, it's hard to see. You can see your own reflection in her eyes.
She makes ruby contact.
Well, her eyes are gold. They're like molten gold.
Yeah, sure.
But, so you say, yeah, we've never met a beauty such as you. And she looks at you, Berg, and she's like, is he always like this?
Yes.
She laughs. So she says, well, charmed, I'm sure. And she does a little like fake curtsy. And she says, I could use a drink. You boys want something? And she walks over to the table, and you see there's a clay like urn on there. And she pops it open and pours something like shimmering and bronze colored into a clay like mug. Drinks it all in one go. Sets it down and looks at you like,
Will it hurt me?
I don't know. It depends on how tough you are.
Berg looks like.
Well,
Grabs
I
it.
don't make it a point to drink with anyone who I've not yet met. My name is Kalimant. And you are?
She looks at you and says, Kalimot. Pretty. Suits you. I'm Agni. Agni Imik's daughter.
Berg grabs a cup and is like kind of looking at it.
Yeah, it's got a
investigating
sort
it.
of metallic surface. It's a little viscous, like you tip it and you can see it like cling to the side of the vessel.
Is it hot?
I mean, you can't really feel heat. Like it's all hot. Everywhere in here is hot.
It's just so fucking hot in here right now.
It's just like you're all very hot. You're like in a forge or whatever. So.
I think he's asking, is it molten brass or something?
That's what I'm. Yeah.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
I mean, make a perception check there, bro.
I can just see Bert going, ah! It just burns down his fucking body and out his
This
limbs.
molten brass probably isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like liquid metal to you. Yeah. Kinda.
Berg thinks better of it, and he's like,
Maybe not.
You put it down, and she shrugs. She's like, not that tough, I guess.
How did you come to be in this place?
What do you mean, this room?
We'll start there. Sure.
She shrugs. She's like, I live here. I've been here as long as I've been in Utrich's employ.
How long is that? This employ.
It's a complicated question. 100 years? 1,000? How do you measure time? I mean, I'm not trying to be clever like you. Is your culture, is your calendar solar, lunar? How do you mark the passing of ages?
Years will suffice. I will understand that.
Right, but how long is a year? How many days? How long is a day? How many hours? You count things in less than that.
I immediately recite the exact numbers to that.
Right. Yeah. Totally. There's 40 days
if
to
it's
there's 40
normal. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 40 days to a month, and like whatever. Like you lay out the calendar. You're like, and so she like scratches her head and says, well, conversion side, a couple of 100 years. He shrugs.
And
Not that long.
where were you before that?
Home. I'm with my family.
And again, where is that?
Do you speak primordial or what are your languages?
Aquan, Draconic, Common, and Orcish.
She says the name of a thing that you only know as a language because you're familiar enough with Orin to know that sometimes what sounds like the howling of a wind is actually a word. But for her, she makes a sound that is like the crackling of a campfire and the breaking of a log in a hearth Like she makes a fiery sound.
Right.
And some of the like noise sounds familiar. You definitely get that it's like a word, but you don't understand how to translate it.
I'll respond and almost as if I understood what she said, but I have no idea where that is, and say, "Are you what someone like the four of us would call a god?"
She laughs, and she kind of like pulls on the collar of her tunic and leans back a little, and she's like, oh, I like the sound of that. Tell me I'm a god again.
No.
And she laughs. She's like, oh, I almost had a cult. Anybody else? You want to worship me? And she points at you, Calumet.
He does not.
If there's good reason, then of course I will. I have no problem with that, especially to someone so gifted. What are you making?
She
you banging on an anvil.
She looks over and she says, "Oh, that personal project, knife of sorts."
How long have you been working on that?
She shrugs.
There's that time again.
Handful of years, by your measurement. It's nothing. Blink of an eye.
My head turns back to Berg, as if he was going to say something.
What do you do for your tricks?
Keep things hot. Provide fire. Occasionally craft things. Mostly cages, manacles, experimental equipment, that sort of thing. Forge stuff.
Why?
What do you mean? Why?
What do you get in return?
What do you get?
I beat Berg to the punch.
Make a persuade check.
Both of us or just me?
You can do it with advantage. The two of you are.
What's your persuade?
Mine's -2.
All right, mine's 0.
Yeah, you
I
can
guess.
just do it with advantage.
All right. 9.
9. She So what do you say? What do you get in
Good
return?
Yeah.
She says she shrugs and she says purpose gives me something to do.
Are you able to go back home whenever you like?
I suppose I could. I don't think Utrix would be able to say no to my father. My father's very powerful, but he's the reason I'm here in the first place. You boys ask a lot of questions.
So you were sold. I just like
No, nothing like that. And she puts her hands up. An arrangement. Apprenticeship. I don't know the word in common for it.
Berg, I reach for your wrist. You can feel free to stop me, but I'm reaching for your wrist.
No, Bergo knows what you're doing.
I grab his wrist and pull it up, kind of up in a focal point for all to see. Can you get rid of that?
What do you mean get rid of it?
Take it off of him.
I don't know.
Not the appendage, just the.
Yes, I
She
mean the
nods and
manacle.
she says, yeah, and is this your like stone arm? Did we figure out what arm the fucking bracer is on?
Oh, we should roll for that.
Yeah, I think at this point we're so fucked around on it that we should just roll a d. Let's flip a coin.
Yeah, roll D2.
Heads, it's the stone arm. Tails, it's the other one. I will write it down in my notebook, and we will just never worry
I
about
have
it.
coin here. I have a coin.
Okay.
All right. Heads, it's the stone arm. Tails, it's the other one.
Yeah, sure.
All right. It's tails.
So not stone arm?
Okay, so it's your flesh arm.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down. Flesh arm. All right.
Flesh arm.
The problem is that, like all of my fucking notes, at episode 108 or whatever, I'm gonna come back and be like, "Why did I write down flesh arm in all caps?" Okay. So
Yeah, I
you
grab
hold it
his
up
flesh arm, pull up the
and
manacle.
she looks at it, and you say, "Not the arm or not the appendage," whatever. And she looks at you and she's like, "Oh, a shame. I mean, he doesn't exactly match, does he? You sure you don't want me to take the arm off? I could do it. You'll do a nice new one."
Now can I now hold on a second. Can I What is it? Insight or something like that to know that she's joking or not?
Yeah, make an insight check. Sure.
Or is she being obviously joking?
I don't know. I think you can make a check to tell.
Okay. So is it insight?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. 7.
I don't think you know either.
Well,
That's fine.
being
I'll laugh.
Yeah, you all have an awkward like.
well, no, I take her quite literally, and I turn and say, she could take your arm and cauterize the wound and probably make you quite an arm. Might do better than that one.
Yeah, yes, cauterize the wound. Certainly. I could just pop that thing off. We can make you a new one. I've made entire men out of metal. She looks you up and down. I mean, I wouldn't want to get rid of the whole thing, but shrugs.
Great.
Berg like considers it. He's like,
Really?
She thinks a second. Yeah, sure. Why not?
You hesitated.
I was thinking about how I would do it.
Do you have an entire schematic in your head that quickly?
Yeah.
Can I
Definitely.
make? I'm making
Yeah.
an insight on that check. Or on that fucking eye.
Are we really considering this? Please tell me we're not really considering this.
When she says that, I'm just like,
Do you have any examples of stuff you've crafted around here you could show us to show us how good your work is?
why sure, check out my catalog.
She says, well, have you wandered around upstairs a little?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen Andhaka.
probably.
You'd recognize him. Big fucker. Bull's horns?
The one on the wall.
Oh, the red thing.
She nods.
We all say 3 different things talking about the same creature.
Yeah, and she nods like you're all right. Yeah. She puts her hands up. Platinum spikes about yay long. I made those.
And what is that? I could not discern.
And she kind of like squints at you, like she's not sure what you mean, and then she says, well, it, kind of looks like silver, shinier. The metal.
No,
Do not have that where you're from.
the creature, not the metal. I know what platinum is.
Well, I don't know. You're a talking turtle man. How do I know what you know about metals?
I don't know. You're a fire person underneath a thing in a far plane outside.
Okay, all right. So we're all just out of our element right now. She kind of laughs like that's a joke, like out of her element. Looks around, and she says, "They're containment spikes. They're meant to hold the thing's power in. Creates a closed loop, so we can't get away. Slippery those things."
It's quite evil.
My question.
She scowls at you and she's like, "What do you mean evil? I mean, sure, he's scary looking, but so are you."
If I go down this path, it will not end well. For me, most likely.
Why capture things in the first place? What need has Utrix of trophies or a zoo of sort?
She looks at you, and what is something that Kalimat is like wearing or has on him that is like of fine quality? Do you have like, are you wearing like a nice outfit? Are you,
his
like-
clothes.
Okay, so she says, let me ask you something. Why did you buy such lovely clothes?
So that I may put off an air of class, sophistication.
How do you?
So that I'm
how do you-
pleasing on the
how do you
eyes.
How do you feel when someone notices? When someone says, "Hey, Dragon Boy, nice pants."
It feels good, obviously.
She nods. So it goes, but wizards don't collect pants. They collect oddities.
Some wizards do that, yes.
She shrugs and she's like, "Utrix is the only wizard I've ever met, so."
I just put
Well-
my hand up slowly and put it back down.
My pants are not a slave to me, though. My pants don't think and feel and eat.
Yeah, she looks at you. She's like, aren't they? Have you ever asked them how they feel about carrying your butt around all day?
Well,
they're not
I'm
sentient.
kidding. They're pants. They're just pants. Trying to.
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm good at the forge and bad at metaphors. The
No,
point
I
I'm trying to
understand
make
what you're
here is
saying.
that, listen, Utrix sometimes sees things like they're objects. And I have to tell you, as long as Ed Haka is here, he's not, out there doing Ed Haka things.
Back to the
So
semantical.
he takes these things away from their homes in order to protect other things around.
You're really sympathizing with that great red bastard upstairs.
No, it's not him. It's the idea of the thing. To enslave another is a poor thing. But if there's good reason for it, like a murderer being put in the cells, that's different.
She nods. She nods and she says menagerie, zoo, prison, synonyms for the same thing, I think.
All right.
Only
I'm just
in
getting
this
him.
view- Well, she kind of leans on the table and takes another drink and she says, I haven't argued philosophy since I was a child. God, you sound like my father.
I should like to meet him.
No, you shouldn't. He's terrible. And you actually know her father's name, right? Like she said it when you met her.
Yeah, she said I couldn't make it out really. It was something.
Yeah.
It hurt. Yeah.
She said her name is Agni Imik's daughter, which means Imix is her father's name.
Okay.
So
and
if
why do I
anybody
know that name?
Yeah, if anybody wants to make a check.
Is that Arcana?
It would
Probably
be
religion.
religion or history.
I'll do a religion. Well, religion is going to tell me a pantheon. History is going to tell me more about her, right? Or more about the.
I mean, yeah, maybe they'll give you different information. Everybody, if you want to make a check.
Berg tell you about the history with his two.
Sully with the 26th.
And Ramus had a 15 on religion.
Yeah, so you got 15. Okay, which one do you want to do, Calumet? Oh dear, nope. Name is not familiar to you.
Nope.
But okay, so Ramus, Imix is a. You've seen his name in old religious texts. He's not a god in the sense that like no one worships him, but maybe there are like weird backward dwarves that still call out his name in their sacred rituals. He is a primordial entity that never made quite the cut for godhood, right? If he was a proper god, you'd know, but he's just like a shaman of a backward tribe or a druid might pay homage. He is a great and terrible god of flame, supposedly, but isn't really like a god. Sally Hoffa with a 26 on history. Yeah, so Imix, if we as players and viewers of this were to look back on the primordial arc, for example, and some of the great and terrible entities therein, Imix was among their kind. Imix is one of the ancient gods of Earth that when the gods collected 10,000 years ago to form the bureaucracy of heaven, Imix gave him a big hot one of these and returned to the darkness from whence he came. He is a god of flame and fire, a god of consumption, a god of burning and destruction. He is a bad dude. If you don't like your shit being burned down. Over time, he has had cults like build up around him, like servants of the flame. But he is a god of ill favor, a powerful spirit, kind of a king among elementals.
With the 26, can I know how Agni came to be?
Yeah, he has lots of kids, right? Fire spread. You give them the right materials to do so, and then take them away from the source of flame. Yeah, and so he has other children. He has lots, and she is one of them. Yeah, I think that you maybe recognize her name as like a footnote in some text about like, and thus Imix unto the world begat Pyrrhus and Agni and Fleon, and like so like there's like her name is a footnote in some distant text. But...
Okay.
Flareon,
Yeah, all the Pokemon.
exactly.
Yeah.
Great Charmander.
Yes, exactly.
Third of his name.
And thus throughout the land, all that was heard was cha cha. And so on and so forth until it was captured by the great master Ash.
God, I love Ash, one of the great servants of Imix,
Yeah.
mighty Lord of Flame.
Exactly.
Cleverness.
Yeah. I love how everyone's like pompous historian voice seems to be exactly the same. Like we all go to the Monty Python, they're like, and then did he unto the world
Of
deliver
course.
fire?
Of
And
course.
'twas good.
Without a doubt.
So yeah, that's the thing. It's a primordial god who has fallen long out of fashion. If you are of the mind that like the bureaucracy of heaven is a good and rightly thing, which as a cleric you would, right?
Okay. Callie, what was the last thing you said in the conversation? Like, where did we
What's that?
Where did we leave off in the conversation?
That feels like an hour ago.
Yeah, we went on that history lesson. That's why I'm trying. Because if anything, I'm just gonna hold up Berg's arm.
No, it was a philosophy. We were having a philosophical Jesus
Yeah.
discussion about slaves, and she made the distinction of prisons. Like these things are imprisoned because they are, bad, murderous, and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as that conversation kind of fades, I once again pull up Berg's fleshy arm with the manacle on it and say, "The manacle, can you remove that? It's far too difficult for me. But perhaps yourself."
She takes a look at it and gets close to you, Berg, and you can feel like she exudes like a powerful heat.
She
She gets close to you and takes a look, and she doesn't touch you, but she looks at it and she says, "Oh, I've seen these before." She looks at you and she shakes her head and she says, "I'm sorry. I don't think there's anything I can do. These were made by more powerful magic than I have. Plus, I'm really more a maker than an unmaker. Now, if you could get an audience with my father, he could burn that thing right off of you. Probably keep the arm too, but..." She shakes her head. "I'm so sorry." And you get the impression she's not apologizing that she can't take it off of you, but apologizing that it's on you in the first place.
Yeah. Berg kind of takes a second, just like,
It's fine. They always say that.
She says, this thing, the blasphemy. I mean, everyone wants to be free, don't they? And she looks at you, Ramus, and she says, "I can't believe you people let this happen. Things like this. Justice, judgment. What a joke."
Don't look at me. I didn't do it.
She
That's
scowls.
the bad version of us. The other school.
She scowls and she says, "You're all complicit, humans."
Is there a way to get it off?
How can we gain an audience with your father?
We kind of all say that at the same time.
Yeah, she's like, okay, boys, one at a time. You get lonely up there? Utrix ignoring you? You come down here and have a conversation with me?
We haven't met him
who's
yet.
first? And she like folds her arms over her chest like, "Hey, I'm smart and I know things and everybody wants to talk to me. This is great." And she's like, "All right, boys, one at a time."
How do we gain an audience with your father, Imix?
My father is a powerful entity, but we have to find him first. Wherever fire burns brightest, wherever lava flows like an ocean, that's where he is. I haven't seen him and she looks over at Slyhava. I don't know, a long ass time. But if you could find him, that'd be the start. I'll tell you this though, if you go looking for Imix, he's unpredictable, pompous, ever since we lost my brother.
What's the brother's name? Would I know that from history?
She has lots of brothers.
Okay.
You don't know which one she's talking about.
Damn. I was just going to be like, "Oh, yeah, Bob." Everyone
What?
knows the story of Bob.
What about?
Berg like motions to his stone arm.
She looks at it. "What about it?"
Can you take it off? Give me something better.
So when you say, "Can you take it off?" she starts reaching for your arm. Like, "Yeah, come here. Let me just yank that thing off of you." And so you're like,
He's like,
what do you do?
"Oh,
Yeah, she's like, yeah, come here. Like goes to grab it. Like you have a splinter. You're like, can you get this for me?
can you really give me a new, less bad arm?
She looks at it. She says,
You
well,
must be sure.
I mean, the structure's good. It's a nice arm. Solid, too. But you can't move it, can you?
Bert this is a very awkward scene, but Bert just goes like this. Like,
She shakes her head and she says, well, that won't do. I could fix that bit. Give it a little life. But the way these things go, you have to give me something in exchange. What have you got?
How
What do you
about
desire?
my soul?
just looks at the other guys like, right, guys, right.
And she puts her hands up like, oh no, I don't do that. Something else though. And she looks at you, Calumet, and she's like, I've never done one of these things before. You know, make a deal with a mortal. I'm a little excited, but I don't really know how it goes. Usually, you have something, and you give it to me, and then you don't have it anymore. In exchange, I can give you a blessing, but it's got to be something appropriate to the idiom, you know?
Well, I have many things that I could offer you.
She shakes her
What
head.
do
She's
you-
like, not you, this one. It has to come from him.
I'm afraid I don't have much.
I know something she might like, but you're not going to like it, Berg. The hammer.
I probably step in. No. That's off limits.
He has no use for it anymore. He's not attuned to it.
The
Maybe
ham-
this is fate. Maybe this is the cards telling us this is what we need to do.
The hammer is tainted. She would not want it.
It is not up to you, Sully.
And so she's just looking at Berg, and you can see that she's kind of getting the measure of him. And she says, there's more going on under the surface than it looks. I think she like pokes you in the chest, and like whatever you're wearing, she pokes a hole in it like a cigarette burn when she touches you, and like you can hear the hiss of her like fingertip touching you, and it makes you angry, right? Like she hurts you, just like you take like 1 damage, but you're like ow, and like what do you do when she pokes you and it like burns your clothes and like you feel
I mean, his initial response to taking damage is anger and fighting back, right? So he doesn't necessarily fight back, but it's like he just like kind of goes into like a fighting stance.
And when you do that, when you back up, she like claps her hands. She's like, ooh, that. I want that. Just a little. Not all of it.
You want his
That's a
anger?
good sort of flame. She looks at you and nods. There are only a few fires in mortals, and that's one. A good one, too.
Berg, she's asking for your being. You don't
She
want
shakes
to
her
give...
head. Not all of it. Just a spark. A little.
Unfortunately, I...
No.
But,
Berg turns around and walks away.
yeah, I cross my arms. Good answer. Good answer.
And she says, oh, don't be so hasty. There's a lot there. I can feel it. Just a taste. A tiny bit. I'll give you
Berg
your
turns
arm
over
back.
his shoulder and is like,
And more, too.
Berg turns over his shoulder and says,
I don't have much, as I said. But that is mine.
She scowls. And she says, fine. Fair enough. Still, she like grins at you, and she's like looking at you like, wow, he's like way more interesting than I thought. And then she turns back to you, Kalimat, and she says, "Was this about a hammer?"
I'm behind her probably, and just with my I guess this just going.
It is. The hammer is not mine to give, nor is it mine to describe. I merely brought it up in case Berg didn't think of it. If he chooses to give it to you, Berg, please. It
So
is up to
she
you.
shakes her head. She shakes her head and she's like, "Oh no, I've all the hammers I need. I just wanted to see it. Do you have it on you, Berg? Are you carrying the
Yeah,
the
Bird keeps
apology?
it on him at all times. So.
Yeah. So she's like, I just want to see it.
Before you touch this hammer, which I'm sure you're going to want to, it is just be careful. Something resides in it. Something more than just the soul of the hammer.
And she kind of scowls at you like she doesn't understand. But she's like, I just want to take a look at it.
Just be careful, Berg.
Bird like takes it out. Still kind
Okay.
of. You tell me. I mean, it still is hard to pick up
It's
as
so
before.
heavy. Yes. Oh God.
Yeah, Bird like kind of like.
Yeah. And she looks at you and shakes her head and she says, "Oh, honey, let's see it." And she puts her hands out.
Bird like goes.
Her hands. And she like holds it. She's like, "Oh, by the gods!" And like dumps it on and it rings when she drops it in her anvil. It's like bong, and like
So it's
she
even
sets it
hard for
down.
her to pick up.
It's as heavy for her, and she's just like, "Oh, you're carrying this thing around unattuned. Wow, you're either very tough or very stupid, or both. You could be both. What a lovely little smasher." She like puts her hands together. "Oh, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Second
When she's
dynasty, I
talking-
think."
When she's talking, like interrupts it, like,
I used to be attuned to it.
She nods. "Well, of course. I mean, you can't attune to it now. It's all whatever's happened to it."
So that's it then, huh?
She points at it. She's like, "What did you do to this thing? It's all wrong."
They thought it was
That-
to drink from the fountain up above. And I point to both Kali and Berg at the same time.
She nods. She's like, "The replica upstairs? Oh, it's totally safe.
Did you say replica?
I mean, for people like you, it should be very positive. Make you feel good, right? Alive, connected to the universe. That's why you built it in the first place."
Ramus,
That's what happened to me. But for Berg, there were much, much different results. The hammer that he swung with ease now, he can barely heft. After drinking from the fountain.
Let me see if I can explain it to you. I see things that you don't. The way things are built. When I look at an object crafted on a forge, I see every swing of the hammer. I look at a weapon, I see every skull it's cracked. This one tells a long story, but so much of it is obscured. Things I can't see. I don't know how else to explain it. It's broken somehow. And maybe the fountain tried to fix it and failed. I don't know. It's not the real fountain anyway. I mean, you knew that, right? You're not in heaven.
We felt that it might have a connection to the real one. But if it's just a copy,
She nods. A good copy, but certainly not capable of. I mean, it's not the fountain.
right?
Did you craft the rings that are around the seclusium that protect it?
She shakes her head. No. The people built those. Utrix's tribe, after we rescued them. But they were built to keep out something. I don't know. If I can't hit it with a hammer or light it on fire, I don't pay much attention. Sorry.
You mentioned that you were missing a brother, right?
She nods. Yes. Novum. Missing some years now.
I don't mean
My
to be
father sent a
offensive.
messenger.
I don't mean to be offensive, but if the creature looked very similar to the way you look now, could I assume that that would be related to you in somehow?
She shrugs. We all look a bit different. Novum was less. She gestures at herself, trying to think of the word. Corporeal. More flickery. Fire. Smoke. But more or less the same. 2 arms, 2 legs. That sort of thing.
Ramus, where are you going with this?
Because only Berg was there, but very long time ago in a cavern, we came across a similar creature. Well, a druid friend of mine saw it inside this cave. A creature looked something like you. It felt like he was trapped there. He was a prisoner.
Where was this?
It was our home plane, where we come from, deep underground.
Trapped, you say? By whom?
Oh, him.
Where was
remember
this?
Yes, Ramus, I remember.
I followed your steps to where? I turned to Ramus because I didn't catch this when I was following Berg's tracks.
Well, when we were there, our druid friend used a potion where he could see through a magical sphere and hear and switch between the two. And he saw this creature and heard this creature. And this goblin type priest was torturing and keeping this person like you prisoner, forcing him to craft things for him.
So there's a faint like hissing sound in the air, and you look, and she's holding the like cup, and it's starting to like crumple in her hand, and then it lights on fire, and she crushes it. And I think she says to you like, "Come here," as she like reaches for your face, Ramus.
I back out, but she's like
Trying to back away.
Yeah,
And
like,
so she
whoa,
grabs
what?
empty air, and she says, "You're not explaining it right. I just need to get in your head. Look around. Come here." And like puts her hand out. Like,
Is this going to hurt?
I don't know. Sure,
Well,
but not a
wait.
lot.
if this will help
Wait.
you,
She nods.
if
"It
I let
will."
you look in my head, will you help my friend?
She looks over at Berg and she says, "I still need something in trade from him. I can give you a boon in exchange.
I
But
Look
was
in his
So
head.
let me know
He
what
was
you've
there.
seen."
Oh, you'll give me a boon?
She nods. Yes.
Wait, Ramus, this is not.
As soon as
She
you say
looks,
that,
she looks at you. She
Berg's
looks at the
like-
rest of you, and she's like, "Shut up, priest. Come
Go
here."
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Ramus, no, I was there too.
Make a Constitution save, Ramus.
God fucking damn it, Ramus.
DC 16.
6.
Oh boy. All right.
I love everything about
Let's see.
Fucking
here.
piece of shit.
this. It's so good.
All right. You take 36 damage.
Okay.
Damn.
36 damage. She grabs your face, and forever, from now until the end of your life, you have the like a burn mark on your face in the shape of a woman's palm.
Jesus.
So, like, she basically like Vulcan mind melds you. She puts her hand in your face and it singes you down to the bone. So you have this like, you can decide how it looks, but basically like a burned handprint on the side of your face. And in the moment, searing agony just like tears through you, right? It's like your whole person is on fire, and every memory you've ever had, every thought, every feeling, she is suddenly like aware of. She sees everything. The whole contents of your mind is like dumped into hers. And when she takes her hand away, you are lying on the ground, like in a pool of your own sweat, writhing in pain, but you are resistant to fire forever. So you'll take half damage from fire for the rest of time. You are marked. You can write it down as mark of agony. And like she is like, you and her are like bonded now. So it's possible you could call out to her if you want to, Ramus. You are at this point, you can look it up, you can think about it, do whatever you want, but you could change from the type of cleric you are now to a forge or like fire like cleric and gain your power from her and her father instead. That bond has been created, but you don't have to. You can stay who you are. You can think about it. And later, if you're like, you know what? I think now is the time. I embrace the inner fire. That's a thing you could become. However, for now, you just like pissed yourself and are lying on the ground, writhing in horrible pain.
Yeah. You come back to and we're all just like, Ramus!
It hurts so much.
Are you okay, friend? What did you do to him? We look back at Agni and
She
scream.
looks at you and she says, I needed answers. Now I have them. She looks down and she says, but I can't leave this place. Please. And she turns to look at you, Kalimat, and she says, you need to take a message to my father, or to someone who can take a message to him. I know where Novum is.
I will do it. As long as you are true to your promise to my friend Berg.
She reaches into like right down into the coals of her forge fire, and she pulls out what at first looks like a hot coal. It's like burning in her hand, and she blows on it, and it cools and cracks and breaks. And inside is a ruby, a small gemstone that flickers with a fire inside. And she holds it out to you, Kalimat.
What is this?
She says, a message. I can't leave this place. I'm bound to Utrix. But if you take it, give it to someone who serves my father. Find a cult of fire. They will take it to him. He will exact our vengeance and free my brother. Valley will burn. And you can see like she's breathing hard and like she's angry now. And like I think she has like a halo of like flickering fire. You can see that she's pissed. And Berg, I think that in her like elemental rage, you feel a sudden kinship. Like her anger and your anger hum the same note when you hit them with a tuning fork, metaphorical tuning fork. But like she's pissed.
Oh no, that makes perfect sense for what Berg is feeling right now.
I will take the gem from your hand and deliver your message. You have my vow. But before I touch it, you must help Berg.
So she hasn't given it to you. She closes her hand and she holds it out to Berg. And she says, and the quest is yours. And know this, if you discard this, if you give it away, you trade it for gold, wine, you'll be cursed. No fire will ever warm you again or cook your meat. Warmth will turn its back on you. And she holds it out to you. But if you take it, and she looks at your arm.
Warmth will turn its back on me. My dear, the world has turned its back on me.
Berg
Okay, and
snatches it from her.
take it? Okay, yeah. It doesn't like burn you or anything, but it feels warm. It's like a fucking Legend of Zelda, like a red rupee. It's like about palm size, like diamond shaped with a flickering fire inside. And it as soon as you touch it, you feel like a sense of like warmth and like purpose, right? It's a metaphorical flame as well. You've taken on this quest from Agni, daughter of Imix, god of flame, to deliver it into the hands of a cult of Imix who will tell her father, who will then exact his terrible burning vengeance on the people that kidnapped his child. So there you go. And so you snatch it from her hand, and she looks at you, and she's like sneering a little and breathing hard, and she says, would that I could take it to my father myself. Today's a good day. Thank you for coming down here, boys. She looks down at Ramus, who's like, fuck my face. And she's like, she looks down at you and she's like, sorry about your face, cleric. And she looks back at you, Berg, and you can see that she's conjured like a hammer of fire into one hand, and she says, let's get that arm on the anvil, shall we?
Berg just nods.
Okay. So the two of you walk over to the golden anvil, and she gestures and says, kneel down here. Put your arm there.
Berg does.
Okay. So you kneel down, put your arm out. And she looks around at your friends and she says, never really done this before. We got hurt pretty bad. Somebody want to hold him?
No, he's been through worse.
I look at my body and then I look at him and
Yeah.
hold him.
Ramus still lying on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be fine.
She looks at you, Berg, and she places one hand on your wrist, holding the stone arm in place, lifts this flickering hammer of fire, and looks you in the eyes, and says, "Are you ready?" She raises the hammer. She brings it down on your arm, and there is a crash like thunder. There is a wave of heat and sound that tears out from the strike. And instead of like breaking the arm or doing anything like that, like she didn't sunder it from its joint, where she strikes it, a crack forms, and the crack spreads up slowly to your shoulder. And under the surface of the stone arm, you can see veins of fire, veins of magma burning. And she takes her hammer away, and the hammer itself is like smoking from the hilt. She shakes her hand and it disappears. And she watches, and Berg, you don't feel like pain. You feel sensations start to return to your arm. And we see at first the fingers of the arm twitch. Start to twitch a little. And then you can feel you can move the elbow, you can move your fingers. And the arm doesn't become flesh again, but she gives life to your stone arm. And so now, as you like stand from the forge, you basically have full control over this massive stone arm. So you can use it just like you would a regular arm, but it's huge and made out of stone, and it's burning with like magma heat underneath. What do you do, Berg, when you realize like you can do this?
Yeah, Berg's just like, like he's just like he's like kind of like excited for the first time in like a really long while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he takes the arm and like does one of these, like makes a fist, just goes, and then just goes right into the ground and like punches the ground. You probably see like a crack and like ripples from it.
Cool. Yeah. So you punch into this like crater. The ground kind of like funks underneath, and crater of like magma spreads out. And she takes a step back and puts her hands up, and she's like, "Ooh, well, I mean that worked." And she looks at you and she says, "So there you go, and you'll take word to my father. Let him know what happened to Novum."
Yes. You have my word.
And she says to you, listen, there may be, I don't know, side effects. I just gave you a little bit of what I have, power, divinity, something. I don't know the word for it, but there's a tiny bit of me in that arm now, in you. Getting a little crowded in there, but she shrugs. I mean, if anything interesting happens, you'll write, won't you? And she like laughs.
He like chuckles with her and he's like,
Of course.
Well, today is certainly more interesting than it started.
Before we part company, we were sent here by a sorceress named Inanna
She scowls and she's like, ugh, Nana, hate that slut.
You know this name.
What a
She
Harley.
nods. Yeah,
Total
she nods.
bitch.
She's like, yeah. She nods and she's just like, ugh, nobody likes her. She thinks she's so hot with her hair and her face and her servants. She's not all that.
Well, we've recently found out that we are pawns in a game of chess where there are powers that are so far above us that we can barely comprehend. And she sent us here with a mission to find and take an experiment of Utrix.
She nods and she says, "Mm-hmm. You look like just the sort to take a mission from a wizard." Adventurers, you're all the same.
Well, not all of us can be born of a god. We have to fill the hours and days somehow, don't we? Do you by any chance know what happened between them?
She looks around like conspiratorially and leans in and she's like, I think it's a sex thing.
That's what
I don't know
thought.
much else. We don't talk about it on our... She like gets halfway through the word and she's like, we don't talk about that lady around here very much.
I figured it was some sort of jilted lover story. Why would she choose us to do an impossible task? Just to watch us try and die?
And people just want to see people suffer, I guess. I don't know. I've never met her in person. She just sounds like a real bitch, you know?
Well, I'm coming to find that out more and more.
She puts her hands
You
up. I try
haven't-
not to judge people, but I mean, these wizards, they're... Sometimes it seems like the only purpose they have is to pick fights with one another. 100 years from now, you won't be able to get the two of them out of a bedroom together. He shrugs. I just stay down here, keep the place warm, make weapons, build cages.
Is there going to be a time in the future, at any point in time, when your servitude is complete with Utrix?
She's like, please, apprenticeship. Thank
There
you.
you go. Is there going to be a time when that is complete?
She nods. Certainly. Another millennia or two?
Is there an event, or is it just whenever he decides?
Utrix and my father made a deal that involved me doing this. See, this is the thing. You have a limited view of how these things work, but I'm bound to my father. I'm more a part of him than you to yours. His will is mine in some ways. So when their deal is complete, then I'm free.
Do you know what the deal was?
She shakes her head. No. I have a hard time remembering before. It's possible I didn't exist. I don't know. These things are confusing for gods. It's not a simple lineage. We don't just put our... However you do it.
What is Utrix like to do with us? I know you can't speculate into the mind of a wizard, but if you had to. He already knows why we're here and what we're doing here and who sent us.
She nods and she says, the Sahir has a curiosity. He will want to know truths. Things he doesn't yet know. Information. And so long as you can provide it, then he'll tolerate you. But you don't want to be too interesting. And at that, she looks at Ramus and then at Berg. Because then he won't let you go. And if he knows you've come from Inanna, he'll be mad. But not so mad. Oh, he does hate her so. Be careful when you speak to him. Wizards prefer bowing and scraping. Be obsequious. Give up your dignity. in exchange for your continued ability to exist, you know, the way you are. He's like to turn you into a boar or something. He's unpredictable, but proud. Compliment him. She
I
shakes
feel
her
very
head.
much as though this is going to be an ant trying to talk to a foot.
Not being an ant, I can't tell you. I'm the daughter of a god. He respects me at least a little.
Then he will respect us not at all, I am assuming. Well, all right then. I guess we just wait around to see if he decides he wants to kill us or not, or turn us into.
She
An
shakes her
attraction.
head. She shakes her head, and her like ruby dreadlocks kind of dance around her shoulders. And she says, "Oh, kill you? No, that's the least interesting thing he could do with you. I'm sure he could find much more fun to have. You might just want to
Wonderful.
leave and pretend like you never met either of them. Besides, don't you have some kind of new and exciting quest you need to accomplish elsewhere out of here soon?"
Right.
Yes, we do.
Well, in order to accomplish that,
Sorry again about your
We'll need-
face. I just
we'll need to get out of here alive.
Could you like make
And-
me like a cool mask just to cover this section of my face?
And she looks at you and she's like, "You're at least as handsome as you were before. I'm not a good judge of these things."
Well, thank you.
Well, if you hold any sway with Utrix, I mean, we'll let him know that we have a task to perform for you. That might convince him to let us all go. Well, at
I would
least
really
one.
prefer. I would really prefer it if you just didn't mention my name to him at all.
Oh, of course you would. Because you're the only leverage we have at all of getting out of this place. But
She
If you
shakes her
say
head
so.
and she says, mentioning me to him will be irrelevant. He won't. And halfway through the sentence, you hear the deep ringing of a bell or a gong. She turns and looks at one of the like ventricles in this sort of heart-shaped chamber, and she says, "Huh? Boss is home. Time to go, boys. I've work to do." So what do you do?
I thank you for your help with my friend's arm and for the conversation. It has been stimulating and informative, and albeit a bit depressing.
She laughs and she says, "It's been enlightening," and turns to you, Ramus, and she says, "Thank you, Ramus." And she gives you a look that even though she has no, like, it's harder for her to make eye contact, and you're like seeing yourself in the perfect golden like spheres of her eyes. She looks at you like, because she every thought and feeling and whatever you've ever had, she now understands and knows, right? And so she looks at you and she says, she just says, "There's a shelf somewhere far from here, lined with jars, and in every jar, a soul. Yours has just gone missing. Not gone forever, just misplaced."
How can
Can't
I
help you
find
any
this
more than
shelf?
that. She shakes her head. "I've never been where you need to go. My father saw to it we were barred from that place. I can't help you
Evan.
any more than that. I'm sorry."
Well, that's more than I knew before I came here. Thank you.
She nods. And she says, "Now you have to go." And there's the like, boom, the ringing of the bell again.
Berg looks at her and takes like a slight, like, just like bow with the arm. Says,
I will do as you ask, or I will die trying. I've proven that's a little hard to do.
And yeah, she's like rolling up her sleeves, her like ruby sleeves, and walking over to one of the chains, and has started to like pull on it, and it's like coming away from the wall, like on a mechanism, and she's already kind of gotten to work, and she looks over her shoulder at you, Berg, and she nods, and she says, "Good luck with the wizard." And
Berg
and then
turns
we
to walk away.
we exit the scene. So do you go? Where do you go? Like Utrix is home. The evening has fallen. Are you just going to go straight to meet him?
Berg walks up behind him, is like, "What's up, Pablo? You tricks?" No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I mean, the group of you have some time as you move through the like lower sections of the place. What are you going to do?
Well, I think as we're walking up.
I mean, immediately you leave the room and you have some time alone. If there's a reaction to have there.
Well, yeah, I think immediately
Also-
as we leave, it's just like, knew that lamp was special.
Did she still have the hammer on the what's it called? The
Oh
what's
yeah,
it have
you can grab it as you go. I assume
Yeah.
you keep it with you.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think she would be like, "This is my hammer."
No, she was just looking at it, and it's obviously it's yours. You leave the scene with it.
Might even be a hunk of junk for me now. I don't know.
Does it look bad?
It was worth it.
Review.
Not everyone can say they were touched by a god.
Doesn't look great.
Does it look like creepy or more like that's badass?
I'd say a mixture of both.
I think you could say it was badass.
Okay.
Depends on who you would be trying to impress.
It's very true. You won't have sex again. And I just
Wow.
And I lean over to him. That is absolutely not true.
Thank you, Kalamat.
You
Yeah,
you
Berg
have all
like
the
leans his
time in the world.
I don't have a lot of experience, but Lamus, people find me attractive.
you hear from kind of
That
like
is
10
very true.
feet, from like 10 feet or so down the hall. You can see his bone. It's not attractive. It's not the right one. Just continuing down the hall.
We need to focus on what we're doing next.
Going to meet Utrix. He's here.
Yes, that is what I'm talking about.
Well, let's go upstairs. Shouldn't keep him waiting.
Like looks around at everyone else.
Were you not listening? Since when are you so brave?
Not brave. I'm a wizard. I know how we act. I know how we think. Sure, he controls a lot more than I can, but at its core,
Then you will do the talking.
no.
And
It'll be him. And I point towards Kalimont.
well, shit.
I've already figured this out, Bergam. You did a lot of talking in there. I had time to think. Kalimont will talk. He'll grovel. But not too much, as she said.
I don't know. I think you should talk, Salihafa. I'm quite tired of talking to things that look at me like I don't matter, like I'm a fucking goldfish in a barrel for them to scoop up and swallow in one go.
Berg
So,
takes Kali by
I'll
the
let you
shoulder.
do it.
It's just like,
You know nothing of what you speak.
Oh, then
Like with-
now Berg's pipes up and makes me feel the same way. That's wonderful. Great. All right.
I can talk to him,
Not
but
giving the emotional support here.
Berg literally was like with his tone of just saying like, live that your entire life.
Yeah. I know.
Try
Kalimont,
being a slave, dummy.
Kalimont, I can speak to him, but I do not think it's wise.
All right.
So as you travel the Warren-like tunnels of the under parts of this this seclusium, I think that Berg, At first, you don't notice it, and it slowly gets louder and more present. And pretty soon, Sully and Ramus and Kalimat, you feel it as well. There's a like an aharmonic kind of humming or buzzing that you can almost more feel, to the point where you all kind of notice it together and like, what the hell is that sound? And when you do, you're standing in a corridor, a narrow corridor. There's a stairwell that leads upstairs, but there's a corridor you never noticed coming down. You found a different, you've been drawn down a different path on your way out. And to your left, there's a long, dark, unlit hallway. And from this mouth of darkness, this low, kind of multi-tone, discordant sound is coming. And you recognize it. Because God, there's been so many people. Ramus, maybe you recognize it as well. I can't remember, but it's the precise same hum that came from that amethyst buried deep below the ground. The one that gave you, the one you touched and imbued you with power.
The boom giving one.
That was just Ramus and Berg. Yeah, they recognize it.
Yes, the two of you like
We don't.
stop.
Actually, it wasn't
And
me.
you
It
hear
was
this hum.
another character.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
oh,
right.
no,
So
that
it's
was
just
Azrael.
Berg. Yep.
Oh, that's right. It was Azrael. So yeah, it's just Berg.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And when
Berg
you-
just stops.
Almost right after you notice it, Berg, you turn and look, and the group of you hear whisper in your mind. And if I had 4 voices I could speak at once, I would, but all of you hear your name spoken from the darkness. Just like whisper out to you.
Did you guys hear that?
What was that?
I try to speak back to it.
You just hear a voice that says, this way.
Does Berg recognize the voice at all, or is it just like
God, it's
just
like
indistinct?
Yeah, it's multi-tonal. Berg has no frame of reference for this, but to us, it would sound like the producers of the show, whatever the sound engineer, ran it through a bunch of weird filters, so it doesn't quite sound human. Like it sounds like a man's voice and a woman's voice. It hits several like semitones in the arc. Like it's obviously either artificial or heavily like masked. And yes,
He's
Berg,
swaying back.
your danger sense is like going crazy.
Are we
do you do?
following this?
So is this where we've walked to? Like this is where we're at right now. There's no other like
You're standing. No, there's 2 ways.
we're in a place
You
that's
can go-
unfamiliar. Or
You can go down into this darkness, or you can go up the stairs and meet with Utrix.
Yeah, I'm still turned. Well, a decision needs to be made. Do we follow the creepy voice in our heads, or go speak to a potentially life-threatening wizard?
I don't know. One is an unknown, and the other is an unknown.
Well, I mean, we could, if he's waited a couple of days to meet us, what's a few more hours or minutes? I say we go down the dark tunnel. You all know you want to.
Fine. I'm in.
Well, you follow me down there. It's your call. I'll follow you, Kalimat.
Perfect. Ramus, any objection?
I'm not feeling too good, but if you guys want to go, I'll go with you.
Like steam is still coming off.
can they hear
Right.
the hum too? They can hear the hum too, right?
Yes, everyone can hear it now. Yeah, just this deep, like buzzing, kind of like vibrating sound.
Berg just speaks up and is like,
You hear that? The hum. The weirdness. The last time I heard that, I gained a boon.
I have not heard this story before.
You wouldn't have.
A boon or a curse, Berg?
Who am I to say?
Technically, they're one and the same. Just depends on how you know.
Mm-hmm.
Turn.
Ramus, you have no soul.
Are you just stating this? What is that?
Are we just insulting me in this hallway? What is going on?
That's literally what that's Berg's interpretation. It's like, or you're cursed. Berg's like, you have no soul.
Kalimat wishes to follow this voice. I say we follow this voice. He trusted me. I'd trust him. That's how we
Let's
work.
go.
Do we need a source of light?
Yeah, it's dark as fuck down there.
Okay.
That's on you, Ramus.
Okay, here we go, boys. I light up your new stone arm, so the light sources come from your arm.
All right. Yeah. So the harsh kind of lightning flash color, the brilliant light emerges from Berg's arm, and yeah, the hallway ahead of you looks like just like a dark, sort of dank corridor, and lies ahead. You can only see 30 feet or whatever because of light, but you can continue down that way.
Okay. We start walking.
Okay. All right. So you begin heading that way. Fairly quickly, the corridor becomes less and less like a hallway and more like a tunnel carved of stone. There's water dripping from the ceiling. The air becomes cloying and thick. You all feel like uncomfortable. You can feel your flesh crawling as you descend down into this dark place. And I think that's when some of you start to hallucinate. Can I get everybody to get a wisdom check for me? Wisdom save.
Oh, 11. I think that's Phil.
11 for Sully. Berg 9.
I like how what just happened is like, it's like the DM equivalent of like, hey, here's the quest line, right? This is what you're supposed to do. But what's in this box?
Without a
Very
doubt.
let's make a deal.
Yeah.
Very much like, hey, there could be anything in this box.
Yeah, could be full of rust monsters. Only they eat lava arms. So as you descend into the darkness below the seclusium, Sully and Berg, you both begin to find the darkness playing tricks on you. At first, it's one of those things where you're like, you'll turn to one of your friends and say, "What?" And they're like, "I didn't say something. I didn't say anything." Like, just why are you looking at me? Right? You start hearing things, footsteps that aren't like, you can hear the four of you walking and it sounds like there's a fifth person. The dripping sounds take on a melodic tone, and then the hallucinations start to take more specific form. Berg, you hear in the footsteps of your friends, or in the drip of water, you hear the crack of the slaver's whip. You hear the rattling of chains. You hear the echoing cry of Azure Vortex's last breath. This cavern takes on more and more the space of the Rock Gnome King's lair. You start to see gnomish runes etched into the walls. For you, Sully, I think that everywhere you turn, you see like language you can't read, words hanging in the air in a language you can't understand. You hear half-spoken words of a spell, and when you turn to hear them or you focus on them, they vanish. Everything to you suddenly seems an illusion. The floor isn't really there. Someone has conjured it to trick you. The darkness ahead is an illusion, hiding danger. And so the two of you start to feel very nervous and anxious. You can feel a constriction of your ability to breathe. Things start to get a little tense. How do you respond? What do you do?
Is there any way to make checks against whatever we're feeling? Like, can I make an
what
intelligence
do you
check to
do?
see if it's real? I would assume illusions. I would try
Yeah,
to see if they're real.
if you sense illusion, sure. You can make an intelligence check.
Fucking 10. Probably fail.
It is as real can be.
Okay.
There are literal words of magic hanging in the air, but you can't understand them, and they disappear when you look away.
Well, acting in the instant, being that that's probably a thought, see if it's real, think that it's real, I immediately put all my arms up and block people from moving forward and say, nope, we're not going this way. Spells are... And every time I like go to say something, I'm interrupted by a spell coming and me turning
Yeah,
that
and
direction.
it totally sounds like there are other like turtle like spellcasters all around you chanting words of magic that interrupt your thought process. You can feel so when you memorize a spell, the way it works is you read the spell out loud, and the spells are this is why it takes forever to prepare them. You read all the spells out loud, you cast them in long form, and then like holding a sneeze, you don't finish the spell so that when you're ready, you say the last words and they come out. But you can feel your head like filling with other people's magic, and the spells are like wriggling around in your memory, and you can't grasp at them. Spells you know, bits of spells you don't. You were taught as an apprentice there are correct ways to incant spells and incorrect ways, and if you say a spell the wrong way, something might go wrong, and you can feel all your spells like unraveling and bleeding together in your head.
Right. Yeah, so my
And
arms
are we
just up.
feeling any effects like at all, or
the two of you, like Kalimat and Ramus, you feel uneasy. There's a weight, there's a pressure, like being underwater, but not certainly not to the extent that it's affecting these two.
Yeah, Berg's probably just fucking lost in trippy dreamland, like, right? Like, of all this shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're probably like running. You hear Azure Vortex, and you like fight me as I'm impeding in your path, trying to get to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's less Berg. It's less that she's alive, and more just like you're being forced to relive the sound of her.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's less. I think it's less of like she's. I think she's right there. It's more just like a bombardment of like shit he doesn't want to think about, bad memories. You know, like you said, like cracking of the whip and just like the negative.
So Sully, you stop everybody, right?
Yep.
As everybody else do, and Sully Hoff was like, no, we can't go any further.
What's wrong?
What's the matter?
There are, and then I immediately turn and freak out that direction.
Grabbing at the air.
Do not hear those words. They're incantations, but they're not being finished. And I turn once again over to the right.
Sully.
What?
Look
What?
at my
I'm
eyes.
right here. Do not hear these
Look
words.
at my eyes. Look at my eyes.
I close my eyes and I just shake my head. I don't know what's real anymore.
Listen to my voice. These things are not real. You hold my shoulder and we will press on. These things are not happening. I need you to be strong. Grab my shoulder and I will guide you through this. I've relied on you many times. Now it's your time to rely on me.
Still constantly and frantically shaking. I grab your shoulder, but I'm like pretty much stopped in my path. I'm not going to move forward, but at least I'm grasping your shoulder if you're going to try to press on.
Okay.
Ramus,
So
can you get Berg?
So like Sully, you kind of close your eyes or like just like go somewhere else. You're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Berg
Is the
hears in his
darkness-
head just. I don't know. Go ahead.
Is the darkness around us like just a dark, or does it feel like it's something more than just it being dark in here?
As a cleric who's attuned to the light, yeah, like the darkness is like writhing at the edge of the pool of light, the sphere of Tower's light. The darkness seems to be like trying to kind of reach in and then wriggle back. There's a squirminess to it. It reminds you of, I don't know, maybe you flash back to a time at the monastery where like some of the young boys the orphans like went fishing or something, and you fished up some ugly like mud skipper, some just gross bottom feeding fish, and the boys were so disgusted by it they let it die on the ground. They were just like, they left it out of the water, and you watched it flop around in the mud until it suffocated, this ugly thing, its eyes bulging. And that's the memory that's caused. Like when you look at the darkness, the edge of the darkness wriggling, it's like that hideous fish, like just dying of lack of oxygen.
This darkness is unnatural. Something isn't right. I think it's magical. Or just something is wrong with it. Sally, are you okay? Berg, you look upset.
I think
Berg's head right now, like
Go
you
ahead.
literally just like if you were to hear Berg's head, he hears just like a very very old memory of someone talking to him.
Run, Berg. Run. I'm not always going to be there for you. No one will respect you. You need to learn to defend yourself.
And he's fading. He's like, just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so your two friends are just like losing it.
Yeah.
Kalimat and Ramus, can I get another wisdom save from you, please?
What did you say? From
I
both
need a
of us?
wisdom save.
No, no,
You've already
they're
failed.
saving.
You're good.
Oh, we already.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I think you were checking for a second.
So Ramus, y'all see Ramus like staring at the edge of the light at this like wriggling, and we can see in the glassy surface of his eyes, you can see the wriggling of the shadows. And yeah, Ramus, you can see the like monastery around you. Maybe you hear the kind of echoing, sort of bouncing voice of the other children like teasing you. And you're losing your grip on the situation. That image of this pathetic creature trying to like gulp its last breaths of air and then dying on the ground has got you like transfixed. And Kalimat, with a maybe a moment of panic, you look at your friends and you realize that you're the only one with your shit together right now. What do you do?
I look at so Ramus has started freaking out. Sally Hoffa, Berg. I know this is all in their heads, or at least it's amplified and not as bad as it seems it is. And I really think that Kalimat kind of feels Providence. Feels like maybe he's supposed to go without them.
Okay.
Like maybe he's supposed to forge on and get to the end of this, since they're all just dropping. And I let them know, like, I tell Ramus, since he's like starting to lose it, Ramus, get them out of here. I will return to you.
Stop picking on me!
Go,
Okay,
all of you.
So Kalimat, we stay with you as you turn and what? Go into the dark?
Yeah, I take out I actually was just looking at my burglar's pack. I'm not sure if I have candles or torches.
As you're going away, there's like you get some fucking sad turtle eyes longingly looking at you because my arm slips off of your shoulder as you're trying to get away.
No, I
Best
do,
you
like,
will get some sad
You're
turtle
getting
eyes.
some sad turtle eyes. Yeah, I'm gonna remember this moment. It's ingrained in my.
You light a torch.
Oh, I have a lantern.
or-
I have a lantern.
Okay. So you take
I
out
lit
your
it.
lantern, you light it.
Yep.
Okay. And I think what we see, the sort of last shot of the episode is Kalimat, you leave your friends behind to pursue whatever is calling out in the darkness. And we slowly pull away, and you're walking out into like such a deep darkness that there is nothing around you. We see no hallway, only the sphere of light in which you walk. And we see that you're standing on not stone floor, but the backs of your tarot cards. We see this patterned back of these cards. And you walk out into the darkness on these things. And I don't know if Kalimat notices this, but as the end credits music comes in and as we fade out, that's what we see. We see you walking on these enormous cards out into the dark. And then cue end credits, roll music. That's a wrap.
Oh, fuck.
All right.
Good a time to end than any.
Yeah, we'll pick that up next Tuesday for sure. Let's do some shout outs.
No wizard though. That's so funny.
Yeah. well, I mean, we'll probably get out of this and go meet him for sure. I would think. Anyways,
It will probably live.
yeah, we'll probably.
It'll be fine.
Not
Everybody's
too
gonna
worried
be
about
fine.
it. Let's do some shout outs. Max, we'll start with you, sir.
I'm GassyMexican. I go by Max or GassyMexican on Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. Variety streamer. Coming to you guys from AGDQ. It's been awesome. Missed doing the show. Really good episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. A lot of throwbacks, a lot of really like just cool shit that happened. I'm excited to talk about it. But I have to pee really bad. Follow my stuff if you are interested in me at all. If not, no worries. All right, I'm gonna go pee. Bye.
All right. I kind of figured Max needed to. That's why I went there first. No, I'm kidding. Zeke, do some shout outs.
All right. What's up, everybody? Thank you very much for coming out and watching, and thank you all for your support in me becoming a permanent member of Court of Swords. We'll see how permanent that actually means after this little foray into the darkness. But man, what a great episode. So many emotions. And I got to tell you, dude, this is what I live for, dude. Honestly, this is what I live for. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, Ezekiel_III on all of them. It's just /Ezekiel_III. I will be gone the next 3 days. I will be going to San Francisco to do a hosting workshop, planning meeting for the hosting workshop that I will be helping to teach or whatever in February. But I will be back on Saturday, and I'll definitely be back here on Tuesday. So thank you. That's all.
Mr. Dan, do some shout outs.
Hi, I'm DansGaming /DansGaming on Twitch. Variety streamer, currently playing Oblivion. I'll be playing that again tomorrow morning. This was a fantastic episode. So many cool moments. And like the last part is just like a huge cliffhanger. I can't wait to come back next week to play and try some more D&D. Can't wait for next week.
And last but not least, Mr. Adam Coble, some shout outs, please.
Yo, it's me, Adam Coble. You can find me on Twitter @skinnyghost or twitch.tv/Adam Coble. I am so glad to be back. I love all of this. I'm so excited about all this wizard bullshit. It's super fun to DM. Yeah, today was a big day for roleplay. So if you haven't checked out all of the announcements and stuff, please go and do so. We got a thread going on the community site, which actually reminds me, I'll start a Q&A for today's episode. I love feedback. Anything, thoughts, feelings you have about the episode, about any of our announcements, go there. Tell me about them. Thanks for coming, everybody. We will see you next time.
Yeah, that'll do it for this episode. As Adam said, we made a bunch of announcements. Go watch the YouTube video or go check out the community website for that. We'll be back next Tuesday, and don't forget Court of Swords Live will be happening on February the 17th at 1 o'clock Eastern for a 8-hour show. And typically those are kind of like end of arc episodes when we do the live shows. So we got a lot of stuff leading up to that for sure. And I can't wait for just next week in general. And I definitely can't wait for the live show. So that's it. We'll have VODs go up tomorrow. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.